What's up guys, how's it going? I know that a lot of you out there probably run an action camera and you probably want a microphone to capture that audio to go along with the videos that you make for several reasons. You could be a motovlogger like me that you want to capture what you say, your thoughts as you ride or on your trip. Whatever the reason is, the question is, what is the best possible microphone that you could possibly use with your action camera, you know, that could fit inside a helmet, especially for the purposes of this video. Obviously you're not going to be using a Audio-Technica mic like the one I'm using for my studio productions, so you are going to be limited to one of these two. These are lavalier microphones and they are flexible with only a small head at the top and just wire for the rest. Now on my left, I have a cheap Chinese microphone that you can easily find off eBay or AliExpress or Lazada for as cheap as $2.50 Singapore to as much as 10 to 20 Singapore dollars. Although you might want to only consider any offerings that's below 5 Singapore dollars because that's what they are really worth. And on my right, provided me by a good viewer of mine, Muhammad Shah. I thank you for your contribution. Anyway, over here I have a official Drift microphone. This thing costs £20 on the official Drift website. So that's about 30 Singapore dollars, and of course it's gonna cost you some money to ship it to wherever you are. So depending on where you live, it could be anywhere from $5 to $20 to ship it to you. Whereas if you buy this off AliExpress or Lazada, usually Chinese shippers are going to give you free shipping. So right now I'm going to be showing you two clips of the performance of each individual mic for you to take a look at how they sound like in everyday normal conditions. Right now you're listening to the mic that I use on my everyday vlogs. It is a cheap $2.50 Singapore dollar mic mono input that I got from Lazada, which is pretty much like the equivalent of eBay. So it does come, it's basically another lavalier mic. It does come with its own foam cover. Settings on the camera is going to be the same as later on when I show you the output of the mic from the Drift. So right now I'm trying to pick up a little bit of speed to get that wind noise going in my helmet, so you can tell the audio quality of this cheap Chinese microphone at high speed when wind is quite a factor. So right now in this clip we have the Drift, the official Drift microphone. Now remember, this one costs £20 on their official website, which amounts to about 30 Singapore dollars, and that's not including shipping. If you remember, the cheap Chinese microphone was only about 250 Singapore dollars and was sent with free shipping, so I didn't have to pay for shipping. So anyway, this microphone is being hooked up to my Drift camera, same camera settings, exact same position in my helmet. So this is what the Drift mic is going to sound like. So I'm going to be picking up a little bit of speed and staying quiet so that you can listen to what the mic sounds like in the face of heavy wind in your helmet. Of course, this mic is also going to have the dead cat foam on it. Now, as you have heard from both clips, personally I would say the audio quality isn't that much different. They do have different characteristics. For example, the cheap Chinese mic, generally all of them do perform similar, even though they may come from different manufacturers. but they are in essence mostly just copies of each other, so they perform pretty similar. I've got about 10-20 mics that I've bought over the years, and they pretty much sound the same. So the cheap Chinese mic generally does have a bit of a high end. They capture clearer voices and a bit less of the background noise. But the problem here is that, you know, it does have a bit of a whine to it, you know, those white noise, especially after a while. So this might be something you might want to consider if you're doing anything with a lot of speech. Whereas, as you have noticed with the official drift mic, it's pretty muffled, very muffled. The vocal quality isn't clear, although when it comes to ambient noise, there is a bit of a more balanced sound to it. So both of them pretty much have the same thing going on. The dead cat foam over here, and the form factor is pretty much the same. Okay, so as you can see, it's two very similar small drivers at the top, so there really isn't that much in terms of difference. Of course, you might notice that my cheap Chinese mic might be in stereo, whereas the drift is mono, but to be honest, in terms of the camera being used, that is much more important, because even though the microphones are different, my Ghost mic will ignore the stereo input on this mic, so essentially both are operating in mono. Now, the good thing about having an expensive mic is probably that sometimes they give you additional accessories, like the Drift Ghost mic has a 3.5 to 2.5mm adapter, so especially if those of you are using handphones that are in that era of 2.5mm jacks, or older action cameras that have 2.5mm jacks, you know, this is added bonuses that factor into the cost of that 30 bucks that you are paying for. Obviously, another thing to consider about buying an expensive microphone is the build quality. If you notice over here, generally the tip of the cheap Chinese microphone, okay, and this clip, it's all cheap plastic, cheap rubber on the wires, whereas I've noticed that on the drift mic and possibly on many more expensive microphones, this is made of metal, you know, obviously better construction quality. So I've heard complaints on Amazon and on several websites that, you know, the drift mic can die within as fast as 6 months to anywhere over a year. But in my experience of using these cheap Chinese microphones, I've bought at least 20 to 30 microphones over the course of my 2 or so years career as a motovlogger, and they generally last anywhere between 2 weeks, and the longest that I've had one survive was about 6 months, and that was very good already. So guys, let me know what you think about you know, what I've just said. Do you think you would rather have an expensive microphone or a cheap microphone, or would you use any other sort of microphone out there? What do you think would do a better job at capturing the greatest audio for the cheapest price and last for the longest time, and that fits into a helmet? Please let me know down in the comments below. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, it costs nothing to subscribe to my channel. The button is down below, links to my social media down below. Please give me a like and thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.